1944, in the quiet hills of Redding, Connecticut, a 60-year-old woman did something that her neighbors considered a public act of insanity. She stood on the edge of her garden plot and watched a local plowman struggle to turn the rocky, heavy soil. She had spent decades doing exactly what the agricultural manuals told her to do. She waited for the plow. She broke the clods of earth with a heavy hoe. She spent 40 hours a week pulling weeds, and she hauled thousands of gallons of water under the scorching summer sun. That morning, she realized she was finished and did something that defied 5,000 years of agricultural tradition. The neighbors whispered that her garden would become a cemetery of thorns. The experts of the time predicted that the soil would pack down like concrete and the plants would suffocate. But by mid-July, the whispers stopped. While the rest of the county was struggling through a heat wave that turned the fields to dust, this woman's garden was a lush, green oasis. Her vegetables were twice the size of her neighbors, her soil was as soft as a sponge, and she had not touched a hose or a hoe in months. This is the story of Ruth Stout, the pioneer of the no-work method, and how an 8-inch blanket of organic material can replace the multi-billion-dollar tillage, herbicide, and irrigation industries. If you believe that the future of food belongs to the independent grower, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Ancestral Yields. The documented history of no-work gardening begins with Ruth Stout's epiphany. She was not an agronomist. She was a woman who valued her time. In her 1955 classic, How to Have a Green Thumb Without an Aching Back, she described her realization that nature never plows. She looked at the nearby meadows and forests. Those systems had produced massive amounts of biomass for millions of years without a single human intervention. She noticed one thing: the soil was always covered. She decided to mimic the forest floor by carpeting her garden in a thick layer of spoiled hay. She found that by keeping the soil permanently covered, she eliminated the need for spring plowing, summer weeding, and daily watering. Her results were so dramatic that they caught the attention of the agricultural establishment. For over 30 years, Ruth documented her yields, proving that a permanent plot could become more fertile with each passing year, rather than being worn out by annual tillage. She became a lazy gardener by choice, but her results were anything but lazy. She produced enough food to be almost entirely self-sufficient well into her 90s. She proved that the labor-intensive model of gardening was not a biological requirement. It was a cultural habit. But what is the science behind her methods? The reason the Ruth Stout method works is grounded in the laws of thermodynamics and microbiology. When you leave soil bare, you expose it to atmospheric suction. Research from the Food and Agriculture Organization and the USDA Agricultural Research Service confirms that bare soil can lose up to 90% of its moisture to evaporation within days of a rainfall. By applying an 8-inch layer of spoiled hay, you create a thermal shield. Studies of soil temperature regulation show that under a thick organic mulch, soil temperatures can stay up to 20 degrees cooler in summer and 10 degrees warmer in winter. This stability is crucial for the rhizosphere, the root zone where life happens. But the real engine of the Stout method is the slow-release battery of the organic material itself. Unlike wood chips, which are high in carbon and can actually deplete nitrogen from the soil, or straw, which is often nutrient-poor, spoiled hay is a complete biological package. A nutritional analysis of grass hay shows that a single ton contains approximately 30 pounds of nitrogen, 5 pounds of phosphorus, and 50 pounds of potassium. As the bottom layer of the mulch in Ruth's garden decomposed, it created a constant, microscopic drip feed of bioavailable nutrients. Furthermore, the lack of tillage preserved the earthworm engine. Charles Darwin, in his final scientific work in 1881, calculated that a healthy population of earthworms can move 10 tons of earth per acre per year. In the Stout system, the worms do the plowing for you. They create vertical tunnels that allow oxygen and water to reach deep into the subsoil, all while the surface remains undisturbed. So if the science of living soil and moisture retention is so well documented by the USDA and the FAO, why are we still told that we must break the earth to make it grow? By the middle of the 20th century, the business of growing food had become a subscription to steel. The industrial model relies on the clean seedbed narrative. This narrative suggests that for a garden to be good, it must be brown, flat, and devoid of all organic matter on the surface. But when you till the soil, you are performing a catastrophic biological event. You are shearing the mycelium, the fungal networks that allow plants to trade sugar for minerals. You are also triggering a phenomenon known as photodormancy. Most weed seeds can stay alive, but inactive in the dark for decades. They only germinate when they receive a split-second flash of light. When you plow or till to get rid of weeds, you are actually surfacing millions of buried seeds and giving them the light they need to sprout. The Ruth Stout method is a direct threat to the industrial subscription. It does not require a $600 gas-powered tiller. It does not require $50 worth of herbicides. It does not require the annual purchase of synthetic fertilizers because the mulch itself is the fertilizer. In the industrial economy, a garden that is self-watering, self-weeding, and self-fertilizing is a threat to the recurring revenue of the corporate supply chain. In recent years, the Stout method has undergone a scientific redemption through the regenerative agriculture movement. Modern soil scientists like Dr. Elaine Ingham have validated what Ruth observed on her porch: that soil is not a chemical medium, but a biological one. Data from the Rodale Institute, the world leader in organic research, has shown that no-till heavily mulched systems can hold up to 20% more moisture than tilled systems. During the record droughts of the last decade, mulched plots survived and thrived, while tilled fields turned into dust bowls. This is because the humus created by the decaying mulch acts like a biological sponge. Furthermore, the Stout method is a masterclass in carbon sequestration. Every time a tiller turns the earth, a massive amount of carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere as the organic matter oxidizes. By keeping the soil covered and undisturbed, the Ruth Stout method locks carbon into the earth. It proves that the solution to our environmental and food crises is not a new chemical or a more powerful machine. It is the restoration of the forest floor in our own backyards. It is a system that works with the laws of nature rather than against them. So how do you implement this method in your own garden? The first step is an act of total surrender. You must stop digging. Start by laying your foundation directly over whatever is currently occupying your garden space, whether that is weeds or dormant grass. You do not need to pull the weeds or turn the sod. Instead, obtain a large supply of spoiled hay that has been rained on and is unfit for livestock feed. Flake the hay out over your entire plot until you have achieved a minimum depth of 8 inches. This depth is a firm requirement to ensure that zero sunlight reaches the soil surface. When it comes time to plant, you simply part the thick hay like hair until you see the dark, moist earth below. Place your seeds or transplants directly into that soil and pull the hay back just enough so the new growth is not smothered. However, success depends on several rigid, hard rules. The first is the zero mixing rule. You must never, under any circumstances, dig the mulch into the dirt, If you mix dry, carbon-rich material into the soil, the bacteria will steal all the available nitrogen to break it down, leaving your plants stunted. While the system is robust, you must also be prepared for an increase in high-moisture microhabitats. In damp environments, 8 inches of hay can attract large populations of slugs. The mitigation is to stop using pesticides entirely, which allows ground beetles to establish colonies in the mulch. These beetles are the natural predators of slug eggs. If weeds grow through your mulch, follow the smothering rule. Simply flake 2 more inches of hay over them. The most dangerous pitfall for the modern gardener is aminopyralid contamination. Many commercial hayfields are treated with persistent herbicides such as Grazon. These chemicals can pass through the digestive tract of a horse and remain active in the hay for 3 to 5 years, mutating your tomatoes and killing your beans on contact. If you cannot find a guaranteed organic source for hay, you must use the suburban safety bypass. Use tree leaves. Research from the University of Connecticut Agricultural Extension shows that deciduous leaves contain twice the mineral content of manure. While hay comes from grass with shallow roots, trees reach 40 feet into the subsoil, acting as biological mineral pumps. They deliver deep earth calcium, magnesium, and potassium that have never been touched by industrial farming. To use leaves, first shred them with a mower to prevent them from forming an impermeable mat. Layer them 10 to 12 inches deep, mixed with fresh grass clippings to provide the necessary nitrogen. Tree leaves are the cleanest, most mineral-dense, and safest path to a no-work garden, bypassing persistent herbicide contamination entirely. Today, the global agricultural system is hitting a wall of its own making. Our water tables are dropping, our soils are eroding, and the costs of the industrial subscription are becoming unbearable for the average family. Ruth Stout's method is more than just a way to grow big tomatoes. It is the realization that we can step off the treadmill of work and return to a system that respects the physics of the forest and the biology of the worm. If you are ready to put the steel back in the shed and let the earth heal itself, like this video and subscribe. See you in the garden.